What is up, enthusiasts? It is Cedar Flags here, and welcome back to another one of my videos. Before I start the video, I would just like to thank you all for 7,000 subscribers. We are well on our way to 10k. And today, we are talking about a topic that I've been thinking about for a pretty long time. It seems like, as someone who's kept track of the coaster industry for the past decade, a lot of people consider a small group of roller coasters elite, and then most other roller coasters just good. For example, when people get off something like a B&M Looper, they say, oh, that was a pretty good ride. But when someone gets off a major ride like an RMC or Intamin Blitz, they'll say that is world class. And today, I wanted to look at some of the reasons that some rides might be world class and others might be just okay. So, today we are going to tackle the question, what makes a roller coaster elite? I will also be diving into the topic on why the general public likes some coasters more than enthusiasts, and why enthusiasts like some coasters more than the general public. But this is Cedar Flags, and this is my video on explaining how a coaster becomes elite. Before I start the video, I just want to let you all know that I have merch out on my store, and that will be in the description. And if you haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe. So like I said in the introduction, there are a lot of roller coasters us enthusiasts get off of and say, hey, that was fun. But then there are some other rides where our mouth is wide open when we are just like, oh my goodness, I need to get back on that thing. Most enthusiasts talk about a small circle of roller coasters and nothing else. They talk about some of the most elite roller coasters on Earth, while other ones aren't as popular in the coaster community. But on the flip side, with the general public, they seem to tend to like most of the roller coasters that we just find fun. Their version of elite is our version of good, and their version of good is our version of elite. Now, before I get into this section, I just want to let you all know that I am in no way, shape, or form trying to insult the general public. They just aren't as interested in theme parks as we are, and they might have something that they know more about than you know about. So, before you go judging the GP, and before you accuse me of judging the GP, I just want to let you all know it is completely fine. In this section of the video, I want to talk about the main differences between what the GP look for and what enthusiasts look for. A GP's dream ride is a lot different from an enthusiast's dream ride. Now, digging more into the GP, most people, otherwise known as the general public, base their number one off of a few things. One being visuals. Does the coaster look pretty? Some of the GP's favorite rides are visually stunning, even more visually stunning than some of the elite roller coasters out there as well. Look at a ride like Candemonium at Hershey Park. It isn't the enthusiast's favorite, at least for most enthusiasts, but it is very stunning. It has a very nice visual appeal, and it attracts a lot of the general public. Also, stats. This kind of falls under visuals as well, but when it comes to a park like Kennywood, most GP might say that they actually like Steel Curtain more than Phantom's Revenge, because one, it has the tallest inversion in the world, and that brings a lot of shock to the general public. The general public see that and think, oh my goodness, this must be the best ride here because it holds a world record. Now, this has to do a lot with advertising, but it still makes way for the GP. And a big thing that the GP like that us enthusiasts can't stand are gimmicks. Gimmicks are the main reason that not every major roller coaster added is elite. Look at a ride like Dr. Diabolical. Most enthusiasts, me included, were pretty disappointed with this announcement of Dr. Diabolical. Yes, it's not this world-class elite coaster that a lot of us were looking for, but when it comes to business decisions and the corporate decision, this is a pretty good idea. Now, enthusiasts have some great rides at this park like Wonder Woman and Iron Rattler. Let's give one to the GP. The GP love dive coasters. They eat dive coasters up for breakfast. Why? Because it has that gimmick. It hangs you over, and it is built to look scary. This kind of ties in both visuals and gimmicks, because you see that visual of people hanging over the edge and screaming for their lives right before they dive down and have the ride of their lives. I think most of the rides that fall under the good but not elite category are the modern loopers from B&M. Look at a ride like Gatekeeper, Thunderbird, X-Flight, Banshee. These rides are great, and I absolutely love them. But are they world class and gonna make people's top 10 lists? Probably not. And that's just because it has a lot more visual value than ride value. And that is the main difference between the GP's favorite and an enthusiast favorite. Now, let's look at an enthusiast's taste. We looked in a GP's perspective, and now we're going to look more into an enthusiast's perspective. Notice the GP and their main perspectives are from off of the ride, and an enthusiast perspective is from on the ride. Enthusiasts do a lot more analyzing when it comes to roller coasters and amusement parks, and instead of the shiniest, craziest roller coaster from the ground, we look at the craziest roller coaster from on the ride. So most enthusiasts, they base their favorite coasters off of some of these factors. One of them is, like I said, craziness. Intensity, pacing, an extremely aggressive ride is a good ride in the eyes of most enthusiasts. Intense airtime, intense crossovers, intense transitions, enthusiasts like to be thrown around. And when a ride is calm and appeals to the GP more, let's say it even has trims, it gets a lot of hate. When it comes to a world-class coaster, G-force is almost always a must. And to be 100% honest, I think that's what makes a roller coaster elite. When a GP or someone in the general populace or public goes to a theme park, they look at a massive roller coaster that broke records and won't judge the ride based on the actual layout, but will judge it off of the fact that it is visually appealing. They prefer visual value, and enthusiasts prefer ride value. If the visuals of the ride are crazy, but the ride is just normal and there's wind blowing in their face, and it's tall, it's fast, it catches the eye of most people, that's what makes a good coaster. But when the ride itself is as crazy as it looks and it throws you around every which way and stands out from the rest of the crowd on the ride, that's what makes an elite coaster. I think my favorite example of this in real life is Dollywood. Dollywood is an absolutely beautiful park, and while all of their roller coasters look beautiful, smack dab in the center of the park is Wild Eagle. This is a massive B&M wing coaster, and it is one of the first coasters you see as you walk in, as it's on top of everything else. Now, the ride looks absolutely beautiful. It might be one of the best looking rides on Earth, and it's the GP's personal favorite. Getting on the ride is pretty fun, but it's nothing too insane. You have some fun inversions, and you might holler a little bit, but when an enthusiast gets off of this, they think, wow, the ride looks beautiful, but the ride experience wasn't as good. When a GP gets off of it, they say, wow, that was an amazing ride. Now let's look at Lightning Rod. Not the GP's favorite, but an enthusiast's favorite. Yes, it's still a beautiful ride, but nowhere near as impressive as Wild Eagle. But the ride itself provides one of the most intense action-packed experiences on any ride. Especially that quad down. Enthusiasts love this element. You are just creaming down this mountain, getting launched every which way out of your seat, and it's incredible. And when enthusiasts get off of Lightning Rod, they think, wow, that was a very impressive ride. It has a lot of G-forces, and it provides a great experience. When the GP get off of that ride, compared to Wild Eagle, they might like them equally. They say, oh, both of these rides go over hills and they provide some really good elements. I'd say these are both insane rides. But as an enthusiast, you might say, Wild Eagle was more graceful, and this was way more intense. Same thing goes in many other industries. The general public, when they go see a movie, wants to see the most visually incredible movie. People like explosions, people like action, people like something that will surprise you. But when it comes to movie critics going to movies, if they're going to watch a movie that has a bunch of explosions for an hour and a half, it's not going to be as visually pleasing. That's why movie critics have their small circle of elite movies, and us coaster enthusiasts have a circle of elite coasters. These are the real coasters that were made for enthusiasts. So in conclusion, what makes a coaster elite? The ride itself. When people design a roller coaster made for the GP, they don't think, is this ride going to throw people around? They think, is this ride going to be fun for everyone? When a company makes a ride for an enthusiast, they say, is this ride going to be intense and stand out? The GP look for visuals, and enthusiasts already knowing the visuals look for the best ride possible. So that was my video. What did you think about it? I got a little deep into my thoughts with minimum research. Let me know what you thought. This was a little bit of a hodgepodge of a video, but I feel like it was something that needed to be addressed. Anyway, this is Cedar Flags, and I will see you all later.